Okay, so this is the second part, and well, on marketing health or marketing yourself, and this is for patients. So we're going to go through the same kind of scenario. So as you could tell from the previous one, I used a word that might help us, which is the problem that people will come through with us, the effect it has for them, and what that results in, how we can provide information regarding their problem and try and get an outcome that we're happy with. So ultimately, I think I've written this because I was terrible at selling stuff. Terrible charging, and quite frankly, I used to work wanted an hourly rate of £180 an hour, and I know that's probably quite low for a lot of you. But anyway, that's what I did, and it's not that long ago since I retired. But certainly, when I worked for corporates, they wanted a lot more than that. Anyway, so moving swiftly on. So the problem, if we're looking at it, is if it's difficult access. So it's in the news all the time, isn't it? Right. So, and one of the problems we have is the government. They say one thing and they do another. So this paper was interesting. So this is the one from 2018. I can't remember if it's the green paper or the white paper. As ever, you just look it up on the internet. But in the middle of it, there's like a paragraph that mentions dentistry. It's really small. Blink and you miss it. But it mentions dentistry. Unlike this one, which was obviously published this year, where dentistry has just dropped out of it totally. Now, we've got a great position with regards to general health. And I won't go, well, I'll keep mentioning it, but that's the main problem is access to the dentist. And this isn't our fault. Right? These people made more about shouting about it, and it highlighted the issue earlier in the year. But what has happened is the media are now actually siding with the dental profession as opposed to the government. And it's been a long time coming. Right, so the effect then would be that people can't get to see us. There's all kinds of drastic action. And as I said before, the media now is pointing out that, the system that we have, as people have been shouting about since 2006, it just doesn't work. In theory it could work, but in practice it can't work. And when you have a system where it says, well, you've got to create spaces for people who are in pain, it's just not workable at the moment. We've got to think of something different. And because when it said, well, we're going to increase waiting times for those who are healthy, I do agree with that. But on the other hand, there are other more serious illnesses than tooth decay. And all you will find in a few years' time is the number of oral cancers with late presentation will just go up. So we need to think of a way that we can help these people for not just oral cancer, just for general cancer. We want to think of how we can help people improve their health. The NHS is cracking at the seams, and we all have a part to play, not least everybody just looking after themselves a little bit better. So this is from the BBC website. I think this is on the news site as opposed to the iPlayer video, which quite frankly isn't really very good as a dentist. It just gets you irritated. But it does show there's difficulty getting in to see a dentist in different areas. In our area in Bristol, I think it said they contacted about 80 practices, none of which were taking them on. I'm not sure how true it is, but actually it was a really good report regarding access, and that's unusual. So anyway, when it comes to the information, giving people the information, in this we had to go from being a totally NHS practice to a mixed practice, and I knew I was terrible at selling stuff, so I went down the route of a plan, and the one we used was DPAS. But basically, I think plans work, and the way I would say it is, now would be that, would you want to pay a little bit, regularly to avoid any treatment, or do you want to just keep in having huge payments to sort out problems that you have? And that's the system that sort of works at the moment, is that more and more people having teeth out because we don't do root fillings, and then the solution is an implant, and it's just wrong, quite frankly. We should be doing more root fillings, and there has to be a balance between those who are specialists in their field charging considerable amounts of money, and then you still need to have a crown, or we should be able to do them at a reasonable cost. And the problem with the health service is there's no cost at all. So, and if you do one, and it has a poor outcome, not necessarily fails. Some of the best root fillings I've done on a radiograph have ended up in the bin, and then the opposite is true. We just need to help ourselves. Anyway, so if what we're doing is trying to get people, went off track there, trying to get people to go on our plan in this case, and you make it easy for them. And that's you explain, why you want to do that. That your practice is regarded as you want to do for health rather than for forever treating the same disease, and that's the way I would push it. Is that you're trying to promote health. When it comes to when we did it, there's the number of people you could see on the health service was obviously capped by your UDAs, and to see anyone new, we had two different lists. I think I ended up with basically a child list in the end. I know they say you can't, but it seemed to work for me. I just saw my children on the health service, and exempt adults that I've been seeing from the year dot who came regularly. If they didn't come regularly, I didn't see them. We all need to sleep. Anyway, a lot of the stuff I like is on Nudge. This is the latest book. Just at the end, it talks about sludge, and that's really how government fails. And the outcome, I think, is if we have people on a plan and they follow the plan, and there's evidence of these working abroad. So if you look on a website, it shows where the evidence lies with regarding prevention working as a business. But we also have a knock-on effect for the general public, as their general health will improve. And so at the end of the day, if we're giving some education about oral health, we can just add little snippets about general health, because obviously they are related. And Ian Chappell, as you can see here, he's demonstrated how the bacteria in the mouth are linked to the bacterial infections in the kidney. And so while the oral health is sort of, it's not the cause of everything, but it is related to lots of things. The disaster that happened in care homes, well, that's been going on for years with poor perio and pneumonias, and we know this stuff. Anyway, so that's the agreement. What you're trying to do is to lead people, as it says, up the staircase or down the staircase, but you're just trying to guide people in a way that is to help people make the right decision. And if they don't like your idea of what you're trying to achieve with regards to health, then there are lots of other places they could go. You don't have to look after everybody. We have to have a bit of sanity there. Anyway, I'm sure you read that. In fact, I'm reading it myself now. So yes, when you're talking about a business and you're getting people who are buying treatments, then that's the sales process. When you're getting people to buy into looking after their health, then that's, as it says, libertarian paternalism, Nudge. And David Cameron was big on this. And then I thought the coalition were having a try, but ultimately we won't get anywhere because of the Treasury. How can you have a health service that and get reduced taxes? We have to, if we want to reduce our taxes, we have to improve our health. I think it used to be called common sense. So I think we're never going to get anything from the government, but we can actually sort of give dental advice or a dental health service for the public, that if we all contribute, and you don't have to look too far to see where this idea can work. So if you think about Wikipedia, 70% of young doctors get their advice from Wikipedia. It's the go-to place. So we don't want our patients looking up fake news and seeing stuff done abroad, and there's some interesting videos there. They're not that interested, so just give them a resource that they can find out what they want, when they want, and to do it as an individual is a real slog. If we all think of a way that we can do it and help one another, there are huge advantages to that. We just have to get organised. And this chap here, I was looking for a quote. I can't remember which book it was. It's Homo Sapiens, and was it called Sapiens and Homo Deus? But anyway, this Noah Harari, I'm never good with names. The quote I was looking for was, when the health service was brought in, it was brought in because people were struggling. It was just after the war, and the main illnesses were caused due to deprivation and poverty. And poverty didn't mean you couldn't have the latest mobile phone and you had to desubscribe from Netflix. Poverty meant that you had rickets and things like that. And now, so his quote is that we suffered from deprivation and the hospitals were full of people who were starving, whereas now over 30% of hospitals are full of people who've eaten too much. The NHS has changed, or rather the demands of the public have changed, and the disease process, some of them have changed hugely. And what are we going to do? Oral health is related to oral cancer and diabetes. It's we need to have joined up thinking, and this was the original idea. And of course, NHS dentistry, when I started, it was £7.50 would pay for everything, but you were still paying. We talk about the NHS and dentistry. Well, dentistry has never been, truly any national health service. It's never been there. And yeah, I just stuck this in because this is quite upsetting, in that even within research and academia, where a lot of the government sort of look to for funding this particular bit about Alzheimer's, which again people say is also related to poor oral hygiene, the original papers have been falsified, which is dreadful. But I think we can learn more from experience, as well as some of this research, which is evidence-based dentistry. And this is just a heading that I made because that's the question, isn't it? Is when people come in saying, "Oh, I'll have an implant," Well, they need to look after them. If they need an implant, they need to know why they need one. And it might well be that, well, as with me, I never had fluoride in the water. And actually, I never had fluoride in the toothpaste till I was about 14, 15. So I've got a mouthful of fillings. Anyway, but we can do all kinds of stuff now. So this is just someone else who's thinking a bit different. And he's put his money where his mouth is. Is that how you say it? He gave back his UDAs worth about £1 million, I think. And I just made this video for his practice, just to give some example of how you can make things for the public that they can look at. So this is advertising his idea and his practices. It's basically taking the ad for you to get on with the work that you enjoy doing, and I've had very good reports from this. So just talk to him, get someone else to run your practice. That's one thing you can do. Anyway, and with regard to this, you're thinking, and I come across this a lot, is people just don't have enough time to change or to get involved in this IT stuff. And you haven't got the skills to do it. Well, no. If you can go on Facebook, you can make yourself an internet presence, and you can't afford it. Well, quite frankly, I need some dentists to pay for it. but it's free. You can put your practice on it with your hygienist or your nurse or your receptionist. There's no reason why people can't have an app promoting oral health. You don't have to be a dentist. I think you have to be in the dental field, but we should be all helping one another. It is a team effort. So if you're a dentist and you haven't got the time to do it, then get an assistant to do it. But pay them to do it, right? But yeah, and it's free, but I can't go any cheaper than that. And yeah, if you don't want to use the app, that's fine. But I'd be sending out some emails to your patients, because it shows that you care, and you can use these different emails. I've got a video somewhere else showing you how to do it. But you're probably doing it already. So you can either use my videos, which in the main are animations, because that's what my kind of bit of research with my patients showed that they wanted. But this chap was around at the same time, and he's a little bit ahead of the game with his videos. You can see by the type of Oral-B brush he's using how long ago it is. But these are really good videos too. Some are longer than the others. I think his number of views has kind of doubled in the last 2 years or something like that. So, 2.8 million views, that's pretty good going. It's 2.8 million views more than my videos anyway. So maybe you should use him. But the techniques are very similar. And so this is the reality that we're in. So there's lots of words here that you should never put on a slide. But so the public now know there's a problem. And as you can read, and now it's sort of become that the media is blaming the government rather than us. And whilst I was a trainer for 20 years, the dentists have done the best, the ones who've specialised. And I think I can understand it. I do think it's a bit of a shame in that I think general dentists, quite frankly, should be paid more than specialist dentists, because we have a lot more different skills, a different skill set that apply to the general public. And surprised I never made a video on that. Prevention, it's sort of, when you say prevention for a business is selling toothpaste and generating profits from toothpaste for a business. And mouthwash, I mean, really, how much should we be spending on mouthwash? But that's business making money. And on the other hand, we should be promoting health as well as making a living. But if we want health, then we need to do it. And we need to do it as a group. To do it as an individual, it's a slog. So I think we have the opportunity now to promote general dentistry. By the time this all happens, it'll be yesterday's news. You just have to see how the Ukraine has slipped off the radar, which again it's the media. And what we're trying to do is to get the public, just to educate the public a little bit so that they make the right decisions. Give them a go-to resource that, if they have any concerns regarding their dental health, then they can go to a trustworthy resource, similar to, as I said, to Wikipedia, and then they can spend the rest of the time looking at cat videos. And there are, the public, again, are quite happy to pay for contracts for their phones, their TV services, their cars, but when it comes to the teeth and their health, people need to be incentivized to take a little bit more responsibility for that. And so that's what we should be doing. And like it says there, how we don't get a tax break for private health, I don't know. I'm not that great at accountancy. Maybe some businesses, obviously some businesses do it. Whether they get a tax break on it, I don't know. As an individual, on your personal tax, we don't get a relief. And if we were able to do that, then in effect, we'd still pay our taxes, and the little money that is available for dentistry could fund a core service. The number of children having general anaesthetics at the moment, it goes up every year. It's just a disgrace. Anyway, so I think that I've developed something that can save you time. It'll make you more money, because it does what I call is soft marketing. and it also help protect you because, help protect you against perio. There are other things that it might help with, but within your own practice software, you'll have a record of what you've sent people about their BPEs and what to do about it. And this is just in the picture of another company. So I used DPAS in the end. I mean, you can use Practice Plan, you can use Denplan, but this is another one, and it's a lot less. It's an interesting concept. So certainly look it up. I got this contact from New Zealand, I think. Well, I know, but they're also based in Suffolk, I think. Anyway, that's also well worth a look. And when it comes to, if you're in this instance trying to get people to go on your plan, if like they always say, if they object to going on a plan, I mean, lots of people would say, well, I'd rather pay as they go along. And certainly in today's climate, you can understand that. But it is difficult in a way because they won't have the money ultimately. And a little nudge might well be that you're saying, right, well, there's a limit to how many people I can see. And there is. And all I would say is that in my experience, after making people go on a plan, making people see the hygienist, in the end, I didn't do much work. When COVID hit, it didn't really bother me because most of my patients were up together, and you could say, well, for the vast majority, you can delay a little bit of time. So, I'd always recommend a plan and just pointing people in the right direction. And if it says that I'm only going to see a limited number of people, I think in a couple of years' time, you'll find you'll be twiddling your thumbs a bit. You can add a few more people. It's the opposite of what happens now when you work in the health service. And if people don't, not everybody will get on board. Not everybody will want to sign up, and that's fine. That's their choice. There'll be other people who will. And it's in the end you'll get some good concise answers, and you can keep the discussion relatively light but quick, and practice. You'll get lots of support from these practice, these dental plan companies, and like this, a lot of it's online. It's an awful lot easier than it used to be. When I started, we didn't have computers or mobile phones. You had to go on courses to meet these people, and you couldn't do what you can do here. It's just pause it, rewind it, and then take a screenshot. And anyway, this you will have heard from any dental coach. So I think, I'm not sure it was Chris Barrow or Andy Latter, I think, or anyway, there's lots that you've seen in the past, but motivated people buy treatment. You don't need to sell, right? So, and if you've personalized your page on your app, then you just direct people towards what the sort of services you like providing. And if they, as it said in the app, there's a scoring system. If they keep green, then the treatment's going to last longer anyway, and that's got to be a good thing. It makes you look better. There, everyone's happy. And these are your best marketing tool, people who, involved in what you do, appreciate what you do for them. They will tell their family and friends. And so whilst it's not as high as it used to be, even in the internet age of Google reviews, at least 70% of people who come through the door come from a referral from a friend or family or work colleague. That's how it works. And if you read this, I didn't write this. I do what I normally do is I cut and paste. So this is cut and pasted from, it wasn't from the white paper that Hancock was involved in. You can see the link at the top there. But he made this speech, and so that would have been before he got into trouble. He got into trouble for dalliance. He didn't get into trouble for being incompetent, or his job. You have to do, that doesn't happen in government, it seems. Anyway, But it says about more access to primary and community care. Well, it's pie in the sky. It's just, you need money for that. And yeah, we're going to have to pay more in taxes. But if we're going to allow these people to spend our tax money or distribute it, they need to distribute it in a way that's effective. And to avoid prevention is just nonsense. It's just that it won't get them elected next time because the results are 10 years rather than in a year's time. So in summary, what you're trying to do is just to change the focus from the NHS, saying that is based on treatment, and what you're trying to do is to provide health care, right? So it's different. The NHS for dentists, we've only ever really got paid for treatment. And while someone will say, well, it's all included in the price, we all know that's a nonsense, right? So yeah, and then when you give them a solution, which in my case I would say is that whatever dental plan you decide to go with, and then you can choose. Obviously it's your decision who you go with, or if you try and go it alone. But I think that if you want a less stressful life, that would be more of a headache. And yeah, you can have mixed practice. I know lots of people out there don't like dental plans, but you still have the same thing where you're going to get people who would say be on your list, and they have to come and see you every few years. All you have to do is say, well, a checkup is, say £50 if you come once a year, £80 if you come every 2 years, and £300 if you come every 3 years. It's just, that's the choice architecture, making people make a decision that's right for them and right for you, which is what Stephen Covey said is a win-win. That's what we should all be aiming for. So finally, I made this video a little while ago, and I now know it's just got music on, so I will talk over it and then we'll see if this works. This is my third attempt, and this is on my iPad, recording this on my iPad, which will then go to a photo, which I'll then upload. It's all interesting stuff, but it's the third attempt because when I first started it, there's a different button for the microphone on it. Anyway, so this is how to register on your phone. So as I said, if you can't do it, get one of your staff to do it. And ultimately, I've done it a couple of times, so I know you can register as a hygienist and actually as a dentist now in under 15 minutes. And then you'll have something that looks pretty professional, and has all the prevention advice that you would want on it. So there's different videos showing you how the app works. I made one from just before lockdown, so I'll put that on. And so some of the pictures have changed within the one that you would the video explain how the app works and how you can save you time, make you money, and that'll be on the same site, I guess. So yeah, when it comes to what I did do to change was adding your area of expertise. Each one takes about 20 minutes, so they come preloaded. So for the hygienist, they're fixed. There are 3 fixed services. For a dentist, if you register as a dentist, it's going to cost you £10 a month, I think, at the moment, and I just need a few people to do that so we can keep us going. The services, there are 20 of them. You just delete the ones you don't use. And there you can see that the public can share the app using their social media, or you can use the videos from my YouTube channel. Please subscribe. The more that subscribe, the more likely the public will see it. Anyway, I hope you found that useful, and now I've worked out where the microphone works. Hopefully I'll do a couple of more while sitting in the garden, as I am doing this morning. Oh, and as I always say, enjoy your dentistry.